Now we have folks that have engaged in the community, who are investing money. They would like to do something creative. We are a cultural arts district. We do allow for murals in our district, and it was on the front page of the paper today.
We had two that came through. We had one which was Amanda's, I'm going to call Amanda's project, which was the mermaid. The second mural that came in was with Diane Sullivan's mural.
What are the objections?
What was submitted originally and what is on the building today. Amanda Jerones. There is some landscape material that actually creates the hair of the mermaid. Today we have just a black painting of the hair, which she has spoken to us and let us know that she will be planting some additional vines and trying to get that up and going. There also is some different coloring that was originally presented around the mermaid, sort of that aquamarine kind of color. So I think for some folks in the neighborhood, that's not exactly what they thought was going to be.
This all began 10 years ago. We implemented an arts district, but in all our efforts, a blank canvas is not art. So when we were presented with the unusual opportunity in first time in 10 years that not only do we have one, but two investors who took buildings that were nondescript architecturally, dead because you drove by because you didn't even know they were there, we were like floored and very excited, and very quickly learned that, or I did, there are two professions dating back as far as you want to go that work outside parameters. One is artists, because they can paint without lines or outside the lines, and the other are journalists, because they can write between the lines. We were given a rendition. Now, back to what I just said, I don't really know that there's an artist that will paint between the lines every time. It's affected two investors who paid private money, no public tax money involved, and now we're trying to see what we could do to not undo the investments they have made.
There used to be a lot of art going on Bayshore, and even the cottages were painted so darling in different colors and everything. So it's been an art area, an art district for a long, long, long time, just not officially until we brought it before the state and they approved it, 10 years ago or something like that.
I can't really speak to the mermaid because I own the building with my wife, Amanda. So, but I can speak to to Diane's building. As far as public outcry, I think the only outcry has been positive. As far as I know, there's only been one complaint for each building. I obviously can't confirm that. You know, we've heard nothing but positive things about both murals. And the other thing is about the commission that was kind of appointed, the three folks. That's great. I think it's definitely a good step in the right direction. However, Paul Arsenault does not live anywhere near Bayshore Drive. He's on Gordon Drive, which is a long way from Bayshore. And I think that three folks is good, but I think it would be nice to have some members appointed, or however they're selected, that live in the community also. There's certainly dozens of artists that could be involved with that. And, you know, I'm obviously biased, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but we're just kind of hoping that I don't have to paint over it.
The CRA being the governing body of this, we hold a meeting once a month, which is publicly advertised, and we ask people who have ideas that fit within what we've requested to come and give their interpretation. We have one a floral, one a mermaid, and the public is invited at that point in time to speak their piece. And sitting as a CRA, we make a decision whether to move forward with that piece of art, or somebody doesn't want to call it art, and we listen to the community. We use our wisdom from our various backgrounds to make a decision whether or not that's something that goes up. In my opinion, the community has had the opportunity to give their input, and now these private business owners, as have been mentioned, have expended funds to put this up. They've gone through the approval process. The time for objection has passed. To come back and say we don't like this now that it's up and monies have been expended is an issue for me personally.
Well, it wasn't all of them because they said only one complaint, so.
Well, and the
No.
complainant was asked at the last meeting what the exact complaint was, and all of a sudden the complaint seemed to get withdrawn.
So see, there weren't a lot of people. It was only one.
So there is great objection within the neighborhood.
Oh, I see.
But my understanding, and I just needed some clarification, the process wasn't followed. You do have a process, there was an application, but the process wasn't followed.
I would suggest that we have a moratorium on future murals
There
or
has to
art.
be some consideration given to the artistic license, because artists are that. So,
artists.
yes. And so, within realm, within reason, there has to be some consideration given to that license of being an artist along the way. I think the large issue that I've been able to discern from all of this information is there was a deviation from what was given to you and approved, and then what ended up on the
Yes.
on the picture.
Yes.
And that's the biggest. And again, I mean no disrespect, but what's the difference between the mermaid and you painting that building purple? Total.
That's true, yeah.
And so someone's not going to like purple.
From my perspective, while I'm a fan of the arts, there's a fine line here between, you know, I think that the CRA board has to be the one to make the decision. Can't throw it over here on us. Good try, though. In this instance, I think there's an easy solution. If the CRA board is okay with what's been done, then just go back and amend the approval, and that's it.
I do have a question. There was mentioned there are code violations,
Yes, there
I'd
is
like to hear them,
two
please.
code.
but it is against the code.
When the
There's another
first mirror proposal came, none of us looked at
Yeah.
what the rules are,
Yes, right here.
those. And so, you know, now we find
No
out.
advertising for a business, no advertising for a business.
Well, I find it very hard to look at either of these and find advertising in it. You know, I'm probably one of the few on the board that, they're both fine with me. I didn't find any objection to them. I mean, I see them. If I don't like it, I'm not going to look at it. It just, you know, I think we've got a society, everybody gets all worked up about, well, I don't like how that looks. Well, if you don't, it's like, if you don't like Coke, drink Pepsi. I don't care.
I have a sense they manage it well in Immokalee. I'm not sure about that, but I know
No.
they've been doing it for a while.
No, we don't manage it in Immokalee. It happens.
And it looks good, doesn't it?
And it looks very nice, right, Christie?
Everybody enjoys it.
Everybody likes it. And those that don't like it turn their head when they get the one they don't like.
You know, art invokes a reaction.
Does.
And from today's paper, I would say that the reaction is overwhelming only because I don't think in the 40 years I've lived on Kelly Road, Bayshore, there's ever been 3/4 of the front page dedicated to anything on Bayshore that was not related to drugs or prostitution. So coincidentally, as controversial this may be, I take that as a very positive
I would agree with that.
outcome associated with this difficult decision.
I heard the CRA director talk about incorporating that process in the plan for the area and part of the branding and talking about what they want. So it's more than just the CRA advisory board. It would be the community coming together in that process of planning for the whole area, the redevelopment plan.
One thing I say proudly is the community always comes together with this board. They have very well-attended meetings. Sometimes the place is overflowing, and that's a good thing because they're never eliminated. So they're always a part of the decision. So I think that will happen easily. Yes, they're going to have a tough time putting this all together so that everybody got a good compromise between all sides. That's what's most important. Now, we've all spoken. I'd like to hear from our
Podium. Your
speakers.
first speaker is Diane Sullivan.
I'm the lady that owns one of the murals. I just want to clarify a couple of things. We have 1,000 signatures of support and 14 pages of names of support for the murals. And I think people take pictures every week of the building. And then one other note, because it does have to do with the economics in Collier County. Right now, I have a guest that loved the flowers, stayed at the place because of the flowers, He happens to be an investor. Today, we are writing $1.2 million worth of contracts on investment real estate that he's going to buy in Bayshore. And it's because he saw the flowers on the building. He likes the vibe. He liked what's going on. So, and then last point, to think that there are now tourists staying on Bayshore, spending their money, going to our restaurants, I think that's pretty incredible.
You're going to go through the process to approve what already exists so that they don't have to take that off or anything.